Right now, as you're watching this, it's probably daytime where you are. The sun is up. The world is noisy. Your phone has already buzzed 100 times. But I want you to imagine something different. Imagine 5 a.m. Complete darkness, complete silence, the streets empty, the city asleep, your family asleep, your enemies asleep, everyone who doubted you, everyone who's waiting for you to fail, everyone who wants something from you, they're all unconscious. But you're awake. And in that silence, in that sacred window before the chaos begins, you have a choice. You can hit snooze and surrender those hours to sleep, or you can claim them. And in claiming them, you can build a life that most people will only ever dream about. I've made that choice every single day for over 20 years. And tonight, I'm going to show you exactly what happens in those hours. The habits, the rituals, the decisions, the mindset. Not because I want to impress you, but because I believe these hours are available to everyone, and most people are wasting them. Stay with me. This is the part of my life nobody sees. People are obsessed with my schedule. They want to know how I run Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, the Boring Company, XAI, and still have time for my 11 children. They want to know the secret formula, the hack, the shortcut. And every time they ask, I tell them the same thing. There is no shortcut. There's only the morning. The morning is where everything starts. The morning is where champions are made and average lives are reinforced. The morning is the foundation that holds up everything else. And here's what I've learned after decades of building companies, launching rockets, and pushing myself to the absolute limit of human capacity. The way you start your day determines the way you live your life. Not sometimes, always. If you start reactive, you stay reactive. If you start intentional, you stay intentional. If you start defeated, scrolling through your phone, comparing yourself to strangers on the internet, you've already lost before the battle even began. But if you start like a warrior, if you claim those first hours for yourself, if you do the work when nobody is watching, you become unstoppable. And that's not motivation. That's mathematics. But here's what might surprise you. I didn't always understand this. In fact, for years, I was the opposite of disciplined in the morning. I was the guy who worked until 4 a.m., collapsed on a factory floor, woke up with a stiff neck and cold coffee, and called that productivity. I wore exhaustion like a badge of honor. I thought sleep was for the weak. I thought the more hours I crammed into a day, the more successful I would become. And for a while, it seemed to work. Tesla grew, SpaceX launched rockets, the numbers went up, but I was dying inside. I remember 2018 like it was yesterday. I was living at the Tesla factory. I hadn't seen my children in days. I was taking Ambien to sleep and caffeine to wake. My body was breaking down. My relationships were crumbling. And during an interview with the New York Times, I broke. I started crying on camera. The whole world saw it. The headlines were brutal. Elon Musk loses control. Is this the end? And in that moment of complete exposure, I realized something that changed everything. Working harder wasn't the answer. Working smarter wasn't even the answer. The answer was working from a place of strength. And that strength had to be built before the day began. That's when I rebuilt my entire morning. Let me take you through exactly what happens when I wake up. Hour by hour, minute by minute, no theory, just truth. 5 a.m. I wake without an alarm. After years of consistency, my body knows I don't need a sound to jolt me awake. I don't need to fight with myself. I simply open my eyes, and I'm already present. The first thing I do is nothing. I don't grab my phone. I don't check the markets. I don't look at notifications. I sit up in the dark, and I breathe. 30 seconds, sometimes a full minute, just existing without input. This sounds small. It's not. Most people go from unconscious to overwhelmed in seconds. They hand control of their mind to their phone before their brain even boots up. I refuse. 5 a.m. I hydrate. A full glass of water, room temperature. The body has been fasting for hours. Dehydration affects cognition, mood, energy. Before I ask anything of my body, I give it what it needs. 5:10 a.m. I move. Not a full workout, not yet, just movement, stretching, walking. Sometimes I step outside into the darkness. Cold air fills my lungs. The stars are still visible. The world is completely silent. This is when my brain transitions from sleep mode to operational mode. Not with stimulation, with presence. 5:25 a.m., I review my 3 priorities. Every night before bed, I write down 3 things, not 100 tasks, not a to-do list that could fill a notebook. 3 things. The 3 things that, if accomplished, would make the day a success no matter what else happens. I read them. I visualize them. I see myself completing them. This takes less than 5 minutes, but it programs my subconscious for execution. 5:30 a.m., I think. This is the part nobody understands. For 30 to 40 minutes, I consume nothing. No news, no emails, no podcasts, no information from the outside world. I sit with my own thoughts. Sometimes I write, sometimes I sketch ideas, sometimes I just let my mind wander through problems that seemed impossible the day before. This is when the breakthroughs happen. This is when solutions appear from nowhere. This is when creativity speaks. Most people are terrified of silence. They fill every gap with noise. They've forgotten what their own thoughts sound like. I've learned that silence is where genius lives, and I visit it every single morning. 6:15 a.m., I attack the hardest thing first. Whatever the most difficult, most important, most uncomfortable task is, I start it before the world wakes up. Not because I have the most energy then. Sometimes I don't. But because I know that if I don't do it first, the day will fill with distractions. Easier tasks. Urgent but unimportant demands. And the hard thing will slip to tomorrow, then next week, then never. I call this eating the frog. The ugliest, most important frog gets eaten first. And once it's done, the rest of the day feels like a victory lap. 7 a.m. The world begins. By now, my phone is still untouched. But I've already moved, thought, planned, and executed. I've already accomplished more than most people will accomplish by noon. The rest of the day is almost bonus time. Because even if everything goes wrong, even if the meetings are chaos, even if problems explode, I've already won. That's the power of owning the morning. I'm not telling you this to impress you. I'm telling you this because I wish someone had told me when I was young and confused and thought that grinding myself into dust was the path to greatness. It's not. The path to greatness is consistency. It's discipline. It's showing up for yourself before you show up for anyone else. And that happens in the morning. Think about it. While you're sleeping, someone else is working. While you're hitting snooze, someone else is planning. While you're scrolling through your phone, someone else is executing. The gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't closed by talent or luck. It's closed by the hours you steal from comfort and invest in growth. And nobody is going to give you those hours. You have to take them. So let me ask you something directly. What would your life look like if you woke up at 5 a.m. every day for the next year? What could you build? What could you learn? What could you become? If you gave yourself just 2 hours every morning, that's 730 hours a year. That's 30 full days of uninterrupted focus. That's enough time to write a book, start a business, transform your body, or master a skill that changes your entire career. And most people are giving those hours to their pillow. I know it's hard. I know the bed is warm. I know the alarm feels like an enemy. I've felt that resistance every single morning for decades. The difference is, I don't negotiate with it anymore. I don't wait to feel ready. I don't wait for motivation. I just move. Because motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. And discipline, repeated daily, becomes identity. I am not a person who sleeps until noon. I am a person who owns the morning. That's who I am now. That's the identity I built through thousands of mornings. And you can build the same identity. Starting tomorrow, starting with one decision, I want to leave you with something. The life you want isn't locked behind some future achievement. It's not waiting at the end of a goal or a milestone or a lucky break. It's waiting for you at 5 a.m., in the silence, in the darkness, in the sacred hours before the world wakes up and demands everything from you. That's where transformation lives. That's where greatness is built. That's where you become the person capable of achieving everything you've ever wanted. And it's available to you tomorrow morning. The only question is whether you're going to claim it or surrender it to sleep.